We tested the Costco sauna, and when benchmarking it against the other 40 models that we've tried over the last 6 years, the results really weren't that great. So today, we're gonna show you what's actually wrong with it and how to make it perform like other high-end saunas for just a couple $100s. Quick disclaimer too, if you already own a Costco sauna, you don't have to get rid of it. You don't have to click away from the video. This we made specifically for you. So let's go over what it is that we're trying to attempt to rectify here today. If you watch the FLIR footage of this and compare it to all the other saunas that we try, this isn't the only one on the market that's suffering from a lack of heat. We have people that post in the Facebook group every single week and say, hey, how does my Costco sauna, how can I get it to heat up quicker? How can I do this? How can I do that? A lot of the reason has to do with the heater layout. I talk about this a lot, but if you've never seen our videos before, if it's your first time here, watch some of the FLIR footage, or maybe we can splice some in right now, and it'll show you the blue zones. Anywhere that there's blue means zero heat. That's like no far infrared hitting your body, and it's also not accumulating evenly inside the cabin. So when people are complaining about the sauna taking a long time to heat up, uneven heat distribution, their feet are cold and dry, just the various issues that we've all experienced with some of these models, not even limited to this brand. You could apply this to other brands on the market as well. One of the best ways to fix these is to change the heat distribution artificially. What I've done is ordered every single piece of equipment on the planet that you could possibly try to re-outfit this, to reattribute heat to those blue zone areas, demonstrating a bunch of different options on how you can do that instead of having to get rid of your sauna and get something else. And by the way, a quick thing that I need to mention, for those of you that have not bought a sauna yet, you don't currently own a Costco, you're just shopping for one, you could avoid most of what we're about to do by just selecting something that has been designed with a better heater layout. Something like the Life Pro, there's discount codes in the Facebook group. I think it's like their latest promotion was Sauna 20% off. So less money than a Costco sauna, better heat distribution. Still not perfect, but nothing under $2,000 is. So first, we're gonna start with some of the extremes. We're gonna borrow something from the Finnish sauna community, see if we can turn this thing into a hybrid. I'm not really sure what I was expecting. Just kind of going off of audience requests here. This is rather, well, this is interesting. A lot of manufacturers will call a sauna a two-person sauna, and they get away with this by saying it's a 1 to 2 person sauna. As much as I would love to put a traditional sauna heater in here and just fix this entire problem and make this sucker just absolutely scream to over 200 degrees like that, most people aren't going to have the power requirements for this. It's a little bit demanding. It's going to take a dedicated circuit, and then the sauna would have to be on another dedicated circuit. If you're going to do all that, you probably would have got something else to start with. You wouldn't be in this position. Nonetheless, if you have a different size model than I have, you can easily put this in a 2 to 3 person and larger sauna. There's not enough space. This usually goes on the floor. What you would do is build some type of a baffle system that goes behind this. And the reason that you do that is to protect any wiring, electronics, any heat accumulation in front of a carbon heater. Basically kind of create your own heat shield in addition to the metal housing that comes with, you know, whatever Finnish sauna heater or dry electric sauna heater you're using. When you have this down in the right position over to the side, you really don't want to be, you know, sitting right over the top of it, because the heat comes barreling out and it's right at your face. So even if you're not putting water on the rocks, even if you're not creating humidity or lolly or, you know, any moisture, just getting blasted in the face ruins the entire sauna experience. This is not how these are supposed to be mounted. So it's impossible to, well, I shouldn't say impossible, we're sitting in it, we could just plug it in, right? But it would be not only unbearable, but maybe a little bit unsafe, and definitely questionable judgment. Something a little more compact, a patio heater. See how this goes. So first thing I want to address is we had a group member question that asked, can I just buy a patio heater and mount it on the front wall here and face me, right? Sure you can, but the surface temperature of this is so high, it's going to become unbearable, and it's actually going to make the back feel kind of cold, and it might actually be a little bit dangerous. You really shouldn't be within 2 feet of something like this. I hesitate to mount this like we do in the bigger saunas, basically to the ceiling, because it does come with a mounting bracket. This can work, but the majority of these draw 1,000 to 1,500 watts of power by themselves. So we're kind of back to the same issue. I've got to run a dedicated circuit for just the supplemental heater, and then I still have to maintain either a dedicated circuit or a shared 15 amp circuit just for the sauna. If I'm going to do all of that, I'm probably just going to have one dedicated circuit, and I'm either going to get a better sauna or I'm going to outfit it in a completely different way and not have to, you know, if I'm going to call an electrician, now we're into some serious money. So next, we came up with something really creative. One of these mounts that's a little heavier duty than this is actually how I broke a very high-end sauna that has floor heaters in it. This is an option if you're feeling a little bit frisky. And I'm serious about that. If you're feeling like a risk taker, this is an option that makes a lot of this a lot easier, because one of the easy things that you can do is attach this to the top of the door and you can hang whatever type of supplemental heat you want off of it. Just know that if these suction cups ever were to fail, you're going to be in for a world of hurt, both if you're in here and if you're not in here, because there's most likely going to be broken glass. Quick disclaimer, none of these things are manufacturer approved by anyone that I'm aware of. So take everything that I'm showing you right now for entertainment purposes only, right? So, but one of the easy ways that you could implement something like this, and I have a high confidence that the failure rate would be really low, is to put it up here in the corner and use this as your base to clamp your heat lamps to, and then just route the power cord out of an existing vent hole in the roof. Because a lot of people are afraid to drill and screw and do modifications, and that's really what it's going to take in order to fix this thing permanently and still have it be nice. So I've got some fancy ways to fix this and make it really nice, but we're going to save that for the end because it's a little more complicated, takes a little bit more instruction, and I'm not sure you guys want me to do that. So we're going to do a poll and see if that's even something that you want. Let's get into the number one way to fix the Costco sauna right now. This is a 3-step process, a 3-phase process. You don't have to do all of them. You can start with one. But to really fix this sauna to its maximum capability, what we're going to do is add some supplemental heat in the form of a heat lamp bulb. The reason that we're running this as flagship is because this is either a 150 watt or a 250 watt bulb, meaning you're not going to potentially overload a circuit just by adding one little heat lamp bulb. There's an absolute ton of heat lamps online. I've tried pretty much every single one of them. And this style is the one that you want to get. So basically the core of this that anyone can do without modifying the sauna. We'll get into complicated, modifications later. So you can pretty much do this anywhere. This isn't necessarily like my preferred method, right? You would want to find a secure location to clip this to. I also advise you screwing something to the roof and just hanging these, and then you can direct the heat down if you so choose. But this is somewhat directional. Comes with a heat shroud, has a safety cage here. Obviously you could still stick your hand through there and not going to be good for you. But if you add a heat lamp to the ceiling or anywhere else in the sauna, if the sauna was bigger, you can put it down low. Surface temperature of these bulbs is pretty high, so you don't want them to be super close to you. But just doing this will do two things: decrease the preheat time, and then also give you directional heat to add heat to your blue zones, right? So that's step number one. Where you choose to mount it is going to depend on the model and size that you have. In this one person, we don't have a lot of options. If it were me, I would just screw a bracket to the ceiling and clip it to that. And then I would zip tie after I clip it as a safety so it doesn't slip off. Second thing that we're going to do, if you notice in the FLIR footage, we have blue zones all across the floor. There's just no heat down there. I've tried everything for this 1 to 2 person model, and I've got much better ways to fix this thing. They just will not fit in here. So if you add a small ceramic heater to 1 or 2 sides of the sauna, you can increase the heat, decrease the preheat time, and add heat to the blue zones very, very easily. All you do is route your cabling out the back or through the floor. You don't have to drill holes in the sidewall. You will have to wire this up. And this works extremely well, makes you sweat a lot better. Third part, recirculation fan. Since we have inadequate heat distribution towards the bottom, but we are sweating pretty good on our upper half, we're adding heat to the sauna. Now we just need to recirculate it so that it also travels to those blue zones. We don't actually have a heater in the floor that's radiating up radiant heat to our legs, to our feet, to our everything. So what we're going to do is push the hot air down and circulate into that area, and then also grab on to the extra heat from the supplemental heaters that we're adding. And that's all going to make this thing work so much better. it's going to preheat way faster. You won't have to wait nearly as long for it to heat up. And you're going to break a sweat much quicker when you're in here. It's very easy to do this. I actually prefer, this is plastic, I prefer the metal version of this with a non-clamp base, and I'll tell you why. I like to just drill a small hole in the ceiling and then put 2 screws through the metal, like the mounting base, and just have it permanently mounted up there with a cord that goes up the top, and just use a USB to 120 volt adapter and plug it into an extension cord splitter. The reason why is because this is the easiest thing in the world. I'll just show you. We'll click it on. Is to just take this, clamp it to the sidewall, angle it, and then rotate. And then you're done. Like, this is implemented. This is probably the cheapest $10 or $20 fix that anybody could implement here. All it's going to do is grab some of the heat from the top and push it to the bottom and recirculate. It's not going to do anything to reduce your preheat time or to give you any extra heat like the other methods. Problem is, you have to take it out and charge it. So the reason that I prefer screwing a corded version to the roof is so I never have to do that. I flip a switch and it's just ready all the time. So it's not very nice when I forget to charge it, you try to get in, and then all of a sudden, just no fan today. Not the same experience once you get used to it. So that's a pretty easy option. But if you just want to try it with low investment, but basically like low modification investment, you can easily clip this or mount this anywhere. And I recommend getting a bigger version like this rather than like the 4 or the 6-inch version. They're too small and they don't move enough air. Okay, so let's go over what this actually looks like in practice. There's a couple ways to do this, but I want to show you the temporary test way to do it so that you don't have to drill any holes in your sauna and you can try before you buy, essentially. You can order this stuff online. It's not very expensive. You can get it all for under $100, $200. And instead of drilling holes or screws or mounting anything to the sidewalls or the roof, which is what I would recommend if you want to attach this stuff permanently so you don't have to worry about cabling, this is the quickest and easiest way for you to try it and make sure it works for you before you commit to drilling anything. Come check it out. Heat lamp bulb in a 45-degree position, mounted up in the corner as far away from our face and body as we can possibly get it. This can be angled any which way, but basically directed down toward the body and down toward the blue zones. Blue zones in this sauna are always down, down, down. No heaters in the floor. Second, we have a clip-on USB rechargeable fan that you could pretty much mount to anywhere. I chose to just put it right here. Why? Because we're going to have a little extra supplemental heat here. I would like the fan to grab some of that airflow and go ahead and push it toward the feet. And that should basically fix my feet getting out. When I get out of the sauna, my feet are cold and dry. That should basically fix that and make me have a profuse sweat on my lower half, which is what is severely lacking in this sauna. Third, that you can try with no drilling, no nothing, is adding ceramic heaters that are very small to the actual floor and direct them for heat accumulation here. Now, permanently, I wouldn't recommend draping cords, out the front door, but there's no reason why you can't just do it on this side and leave the door cracked just a smidgen, right? Instead of having to run extension cords or run cabling or do any of that stuff, you can order everything that you need for permanent installation, but you can try it before you commit to doing that. If you decide that this is right for you and you like this, it's very easy. I recommend just getting a non-clamped fan or screwing the clamp to the ceiling so it's up out of the way and you never have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about hitting it or anything. But really, there's enough room in here to where as long as you're careful, you're not going to run into too many issues. Next on the list would be drilling a small hole in the calf heater base so that you can have a pass-through and run your extension cords through the back. This will give you 2 things. You'll be able to hook up your floor heaters without cords going through the glass, and then it'll also give you power if you don't use a ceiling-mounted version of this for a USB fan, a heat lamp, or anything else that you want to put on either side. You're basically ready to go with just those things. I also have a couple other things in mind, but I'm not sure if you guys really want to do it or want me to do it. It's a little bit more involved. It's going to take us painstakingly creating tutorials that show you exactly where to drill, how to mount, exactly what to do in order to make this better. There's a way to clean this up, make it prettier. We could build a course, we could have instructional series, we could do basically what we do for the DIY sauna, but for these. And what I would like to do is get you a fancy mount. Now this is going to cost a little more money. You're probably going to spend $250 to do this, but when it's done, it'll be bad. Like, you'll wish they did this from the factory, because when I've experimented with this in larger saunas, there's a way that we can scale down this operation and make it work in a smaller sauna. And basically, we take a non-hydraulic mount arm like this. We mount it to the ceiling. When it's not in use, it folds up in a telescopic manner and just stays out of the way. And when you're ready, it's going to drop down, completely adjustable. You can add heat to the floor, you can add heat to your torso, you can do pretty much anything that you want. The problem is, for most people, you gotta have some drills, you gotta have a little bit of interest in modification. You have to be willing to screw and bolt things, to the roof of your sauna. But the outcome is something that actually has stainless steel metal mounts. There's no plastic, there's no nothing. It's a little bit more work, but the finished product is much, much nicer. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, we're toying with the idea of creating it. It's a lot of work to do so unless you guys really want it, I don't think we'll actually, put out an entire series like that. But if it is, let me know in the comments, and let's go over one more time what you can actually do today for hardly any money to fix this thing. So I just want to add one more little trick, one more little tidbit that I want to show you guys. Like I said, I'm not always comfortable with the suction mount. This is really for demonstration purposes. Over time, you would want to check and make sure that the suction, maintains suction so that there's no issue with this type of mounting system. I prefer things that screw to the ceiling. One of the things that you can quickly and easily do is just go to Amazon or Walmart and order some of these swivel mounts. It's got 3 screw holes. You basically screw it to the roof. You have an adjustment toggle here, which you can move this up or down, decrease the height, increase the height, swivels. And then use this as the mount for your heat lamp housing. And this will give you a safe, easy way, and you can pretty much put these anywhere. And then you have a choice. You can either drill a small hole and route your electrical cord out the ceiling to keep it basically completely out of harm's way, completely free from seeing any cords. If you're uncomfortable with drilling, you can still do the exact same thing and drape it out the calf heater underneath the bench and run your extension cord there. So this is, in my opinion, a safer option. Not everybody's going to want to do this, but it gives you the ultimate flexibility because this is a swivel mount. So you can change the height, you can change the depth, you can change the angle, you can change pretty much everything. And as always, when you attach things like this, especially if you're using a clamp light, put a couple zip ties on there so that if you accidentally bump it or things don't go your way one day or you just forget that it's there, it doesn't just immediately fall off. So with these 3 modifications, you're going to be well on your way to getting any underperforming sauna to work exactly the way that you want it. And as always, if you don't have an underperforming sauna, maybe check out something on the certified sauna list, or at least watch some of our videos if this is your first time to the channel. Because if you ordered something like the Life Pro or anything else that has a better heater layout, or check the FLIR footage, anything that shows up good on a FLIR gun without any blue zones, you really don't have to do any of this.